initially is to look at, if it's visible, how the arcs of the gum as they intersect with the teeth. Quite sharply seen in this photograph. We can, and a very definite pattern. The two central teeth have got a low radius arch, and then the eye tooth here is quite sharp. Now that in itself already suggests the actual individual shape of the teeth. If you then take a reddy brown colour and look at the bottom edge of this whole arch, dental arch, and make sure that the definition of the tooth at the bottom matches the definition at the top, like so. Here's the far eye tooth and the mouth, the interior of the mouth beyond it. That matches the top arch. Then again, this defines the two next teeth. There we go, and there's the other canine. Now each of these edges are defining the teeth as they come up against the bottom lip or as they come up against the gum. As a result, I've made no divisions between the teeth. It may be that you can put a little bit of a tone to show the actual arching shape. Come to the bottom lip. There we have a mouth. The teeth are not in any way defined by lines between them, and yet we know where they are. Now let's move up a little, because part of another component of the smile, as I said, is the clenching, the tightening of the eyes as a result of the clenching of the cheek muscle. Let's move up via the nose. And I'd marked where I thought the centres of the eye, the pupils were. Just don't take it sacrosanct, just see if they are in more or less the same positions. Okay. Now this is typical of a fairly low resolution smile, so that you get a slight closing of the eyes, not from the top but from the bottom. That is, as I said, it's the cheek, the rounding of the cheek, which is beginning to do that, which is pushing up the lower eyelid. So here you have this nice bunching of the cheek. The eyeball is going to be somewhere here, and the upper lid is comparatively unaffected by the action of the cheek, the cheek bunching. Just putting a little darkening in the pupil. I'm leaving a gap between the definition of the lower lid and the actual eyeball itself. Now that gap is the thickness of the lower eyelid. Whenever you're drawing one eye and you move to the other one, check that the line between them is going to be in conformity with the line you've already established in the mouth. I would say that one's just a little bit low, so this is the time to correct it. Don't rub out, just correct it. Right, that seems to be somewhere in the right place. The other thing you have to note is the distance between them. But we're talking about the smile, so it wouldn't matter too much if this wasn't spot on. It's the action, the way that the eye is crunched up by the lower lid, which is important. So you have to move from one to the other. It often happens. The eyebrow, of course, is part of the expression. Some people's eyebrows slope downwards when they smile. Some are unchanged. It's very individual. So it's not something you can really predict. Got to move this a little. Now that's it. The essential components of the smile are there. The pulled out sides of the mouth, not upwards, not necessarily upwards. Smiles don't always result in a smiley mouth, the so-called smiley mouth, the pulled up at the corners, but they're pulled outwards, and the upper lip exposes the upper teeth. Only now do we come to the outer edge of the face. Got this lot right, this relationship in the middle right, you can become quite bold and strong about the rest of the things you put down, but you have to concentrate and get those in the right position. Right, now let's try a much more full-on smile, almost a laugh, with the mouth really wide open, upper and lower teeth visible, cheeks clenched, and the eyes very nearly closed. So here we go again. This time you will see that the gums are much more exposed than the other smile. This is not necessarily something that happens in every smile. It's just a characteristic of the type of dentition that an individual has. It just happens she shows a lot of gum, this model. So again, I've been defining the upper teeth while considering, as ever, the arch, which is very evident from here. And I've got to make a distinction between the gum and the upper lid. So I'm using a slightly stronger red to do that. It's sort of risky going this far on the mouth alone. So before going any further, I'm just going to tick where I think the boundaries are going to be. Now I'm using my little triangle again just to sort of try and establish where the eyes should be. And I'm taking a point somewhere, the centre of the two front teeth, and trying to get some idea of where that side of the triangle what direction it would go in order to contact the middle of her eye. My assessment is it's something like that. And then the other side is much more upright. In fact, if you drop a vertical from the centre of her eye, it's extraordinary how it coincides with the side of the mouth in a real straight line. When those sort of things happen, grab them because they're really useful. So I know that the other eye is somewhere on that line, and that this one is going to be at a level with it. Again, there's a slight slope downwards. That just is to stop me getting them all out of